I don't know if it's that the camera is white balancing on my pallid skin or not, but I always feel like I look like a beetroot in these videos. Maybe I need to start white balancing. Anyhow, it is Friday. It is the end of the week. You made it! You made it through another week. What am I doing today? Well, yesterday was a bit of a wash. I definitely felt the sleep fatigue in there. My sleep hygiene had been eroding a little bit over the week, which, not because of the project. I just had a few nights that were later than they probably should have been. So what did I do yesterday? Now I've got to remember, the sensation of days is blurring together a little bit. I did have a really good audio consult. And today, following on from that, I also did some work yesterday. Actually, no, now that I think back, see, this is how much yesterday was a blur. I put together all of the audio files for the sound design, for the prototype. So they're all in Reaper now. So what I'm doing today, and this is based on what came out of the consult yesterday. I never would have thought of doing this, but it's such a great idea. I'm putting all of the files in and basically creating like a version of the scene in the actual skill. So I'm probably going to be spending a few days in Reaper. Reaper is going to be my home while I'm just tuning everything to make sure it sounds good together. Because that's fundamentally what I'm doing. I'm going to be applying filters, FX on individual files to get them how I sound. For example, there's a kind of sound of like a drawer opening, and I'm going to make that a little bit bassier because that's going to be like the filing cabinet opening. And I've got like a closet opening, and I want to make that sound sort of a little bit more distant. I sound foggy saying this, but it all makes sense in my head. Oh, and for example, I've got a sound of like a jacket being rustled, but it's too bright and it's too like right in your face, and so I want to push that back a little bit so it sounds like it's happening further away and it's not as attention grabbing. And I'm also going to be starting to play around with just making voice just sound a little bit fatter and a little bit more present, because that's still something that I'm looking at. It's not what I'd intended to do with these 3 weeks, but it's something I definitely want to address, because the text-to-speech voices in Alexa sound more full and more present than audio that is admittedly dry audio, which means I haven't post-processed it, but audio that is dry, that meets their loudness standards. So I'm going to start looking at ways to cheat, just basically push the presence of the audio a bit more for VO, so it's a little bit more noticeable. All of that feels like I've just been saying gibberish at you, but basically this afternoon I'm going to be doing sound design, and I'm going to be sending out some emails just to tee up what's happening over next week and the week after. I'm probably just going to do an audio consult next week and queue up my epistolary narrative consult for the week after, because this is my extra week next week. But I am going to start digging into epistolary narrative in games, which I haven't had a chance to do yet. But I'm feeling pretty good about where I'm at, because one of the things I wanted to mention about this Reaper mix as well, or what I'm doing in Reaper, is that I'm going to, not only am I prototyping what this scene is going to sound like, but I think I can configure the Reaper project that I've got so that I can press one button and render out all of my files in the format that Alexa needs, which is huge, because that gives me basically like one touch, it's all out. So I can go from listening to how things sound in place to then just getting everything out to disk. That's the sound it makes too, just in case you were curious. There we go. Yeah. Anyhow, I've also still got to put together that blog post. I didn't end up getting a chance to put that together. I've had a couple of interruptions, but they were all for really good reasons. Things I hope to be able to tell you more about down the track. But an example of this, what was it? Good Lord, a month ago? An example of this a month ago when we were talking about this stuff was then North Star Rising, and being on a project by Mike Bithell with amazing people like Raoul Colley and Samantha Beard and Troy Baker and Scroobius Pip and stuff like that. So yeah, there's Again, I'm not auditioning for things at the moment, but I'm tremendously blessed with opportunities that are coming through the door. So sometimes there are interruptions by necessity. And so I had one of those. I had one of those yesterday and one of those a little bit this morning. But it's all good. It's all good stuff. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing. That's all. It's a very rambly end to the week, but my headspace is very rambly today. So, shortest number of words possible. Getting a blog post out. Tapping my finger. I was just trying to remember. Oh, that was another reason why I had an interruption yesterday, because I went and did grocery shopping as well. Was it yesterday? This is what happens. It all blurs together. No, I think it was the day before. Anyway, shortest number of words possible. Getting a blog post out. Doing some test rendering from Reaper, and starting to sound design those assets together. That's me for today. Have a wonderful weekend when you get there. I hope that it is restorative. I hope that it brings you, I hope that it just brings you light and joy and fills a little bit of the gas in the tank for you. I hope that you're in a situation where you're able to just take a breath on the weekend, even with everything that's going on, and rest a little bit. See you Monday.